So hello there, and welcome back to another Night at the Movies podcast. I'm Spy Knight, and in these podcasts, I like talking all things movies and TV, and whatever I want, whenever I want. And in today's podcast, I'm reviewing the new Kate Winslet film, all about photographer Lee Miller, titled Lee. So, let's get into it, shall we? Lee. So, I was interested in seeing this film for two big reasons. Reason number one is I saw the trailer of this movie a good couple of months ago at the cinema, and I thought it looked like an award contender. I genuinely did. I thought it could be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars with its trailer, and the trailer grabbed me emotionally, and not many trailers do that. And the second big reason I was interested in seeing this movie is because it has Kate Winslet in the lead role. Kate Winslet is one of those actresses where anything she is in, I will watch it. She's one of my favourite actresses, and I do think she's one of the best actresses, I can't pronounce that word apparently, she's one of the best actresses working in Hollywood today. And so those were the two big reasons I wanted to see this film. And those were the two reasons that I went to go and see this movie earlier today. And the Google plot synopsis for this film goes as follows. This film follows the story of photographer Elizabeth Lee Miller, a fashion model who became an acclaimed war correspondent for Vogue magazine during World War II. And that's pretty much all you need to know about Lee before seeing it. And honestly, I thought this film was solid. I thought it was a good movie, but nowhere near as great as it could have been. And that's its big issue. I went into this film thinking it was going to be something special. I wanted it to be something special because the trailers were something special. At least when I saw the trailer in the cinema a couple of months ago, it felt like this film, made the film like it was going to be something special. And then I went to go and see it, and I was let down by it because it wasn't something special. It's not bad, but it's nowhere near as good as it should be. Like, I went to this film hoping for an awards contender, and it's not really that, but it felt like it could have been at the same time. There is so much wasted potential in this film, in my opinion. Like, in the movie, we get to see a lot of shockingly heartbreaking stuff. Some really upsetting stuff that hit me in the feels and did make me almost tear up. But on reflection, I'm wondering if I was almost tearing up at some of the imagery in the movie because of the nature of the imagery. It's really hard to stomach, and not really because of the way the imagery is presented in the film. I don't think the film does a great job at making you feel emotionally engaged in what's going on. And it never really feels like it gets below the surface of what's happening here. A lot of it feels like it's on surface level, and it doesn't really get into the depth that it needs to make this as emotionally engaging as it could have been and as it should be. And it also feels like it was cut down from a much longer film. I think the film was originally about 3 hours long. I reckon there's a cut of this film which was 3 hours long, but it feels like the producers came in and told the filmmakers behind this movie to edit it down to get an under 2 hour runtime, because it feels like a lot is being left on the cutting room floor with this film. And parts of it they didn't feel like parts of the film, and quite a few parts of the film, didn't really feel like they flowed well into one another. And the first half of the film I found to be quite unconvincing, which I didn't really want from a film like this. I found the drama to be unconvincing, and I found the story to be unconvincing. I wasn't sure why we were following this story, and I didn't really believe in the situations that Kate Winslet kept finding herself in. The character that Kate Winslet plays, Lee Miller is not a character, it's a real life person, but I didn't really feel like the situations that Lee Miller found herself in the first half of the movie were believable. They weren't presented as authentic to me. So yeah, this film, the big problem is it's not anything special. And I think it could have been because it is an interesting story. And that is also the other thing about this film. It is good because it's an interesting story, and just seeing the story presented is, I'm going to say the word again, but for lack of a better word, is interesting. And the job of a film like this is to inform you on a story that you perhaps didn't know before, that or that you perhaps didn't really know much about, and tell you something in the story that you perhaps didn't know beforehand, if you follow me. The job of a film like this is to inform you, and the film did do that. And the job of a film like this is to also entertain you to a certain degree, and the film did do that as well. And the job of a film like this is also to emotionally engage you. And although this film didn't emotionally engage me as much as I wanted it to, I did still find the second half of the film to be quite hard to watch, and in the way I think the film wants you to feel. And the performances do a lot of heavy lifting. I mean, Kate Winslet, she's one of those actresses that could read the phone book and still make it interesting. And Alexander Skarsgård is good in the film. I didn't love him in the movie, but I did still like him, although I couldn't quite get past the Alexander Skarsgård of it all. Sometimes you watch an actor in a movie and you can't quite get past it, you're just watching an actor in a film, and it did feel like that a bit with him. But I tell you who was a surprise in the movie, Andy Samberg. Andy Samberg, who was best known for starring in such things as Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he was on Saturday Night Live for a while. He's been in a load of comedy movies. He's best known for being a comedic actor, but I do think he does a good job at playing it serious here. This is his go at a serious role, and I think he does a very good job at it and holds his own in scenes alongside Kate Winslet. So I do think performances do a lot of heavy lifting, and the film itself is worth a watch for certain, but it's probably one of those films I'll never watch again because it feels like it was missing something big. And I reckon that something big was left on the cutting room floor. And I also reckon that something big would have made this film into something truly special. But it's not. And it feels like instead it has a lot of wasted potential. Unfortunately. Not a bad film, but nowhere near as good as it should be. And not an awards contender either. Unfortunately too. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that, Lee, I'm going to say that it's a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I feel that's a good enough rating for this film. I wish it was a lot better, and I wish I came out to one going, wow, this is one of my favourite films of the year, 10 out of 10, but I didn't. It informed me, it entertained me to a certain degree, and it did hit me in the feels, but I'm not sure if it hit me in the feels the way the film wanted me to. I feel I was hit more in the feels by the imagery in the movie rather than the way it was, presented to me in its filmmaking. So yeah, in the end, this is a good movie, but not a great movie. And it should have been a great movie, as I've already said. And so, all in all, as I've already said, and as I'm going to say once more in this podcast today, Lee is a 7 out of 10 from me. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's podcast. If you have seen Lee, please let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Maybe you loved the movie, or maybe you felt similar to me. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching or listening to this podcast. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like and subscribe on this podcast. And look forward to many more podcasts coming very, very soon on this channel. As I've already said, thank you as always for watching or listening, and I suppose this is it, so I will see you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!